Welcome to the Keychain Podcast, where every key tells a story.
I'm Matt.
I'm Mish.
And today we're giving you an inside look behind the people, the partners, and the purpose behind the Matt Harnick real estate team. Today we're very fortunate to welcome our good friend, Erik Gertsen. This is pillar to post, Team Gertsen, at least one half of Team Gertsen. Unfortunately, the other half is not with us today, but
She was unavailable today. I'm sorry.
that's okay.
It's a good thing to be busy.
Sorry that we didn't see you today, Denise.
Yes.
But we have Erik. And Erik is the inspector with pillar to post Team Gertsen inspectors.
Yep.
Did I get that right?
Pillar to post home inspectors, Team Gertsen.
There you
Correct.
go. Okay.
100%.
Yeah, you got close enough. It works.
Okay, that works. Take it away, Mish.
Sure.
Want to get started?
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome.
So obviously you know about us, but we want to learn a little bit more about Erik himself before we deep dive into the business.
Okay.
How's that sound?
That sounds fine.
All right. So not originally from PA, correct?
That is correct. Yes. I am from the Jersey Shore.
Okay.
We moved out here about 12 or 13 years ago now.
Which part of the Jersey Shore?
Tom's River, Central Jersey, and then kind of worked our way around South Jersey for the balance of 30 years down there,
Yeah.
There you go.
where I met my lovely wife, Denise. So-
Okay.
And then we headed out here for work unrelated to home inspection and brought us out here, and we love it out here.
And I actually believe, if I recall correctly, the two of you and the beginning of your formalized relationship has a very strong tie to, was it Great Bay or Barnegat Bay?
Yes, she's from Little Egg Harbor, which is basically on the Great Bay.
Yes.
Yeah, outside of Long Beach Island, which you know very well.
I do.
Yep. So actually, that's where I got engaged, on the Great Bay during a huge wind and rainstorm that almost sunk the boat while I was getting ready to ask her to marry me.
my
So
gosh.
So romantic.
different conversation.
That's crazy. I think everybody has that, like, here's how our engagement story was supposed to happen, and here's what actually
Here's how
happened.
it actually
Yeah,
happened.
we were continuing over to the Oyster Creek restaurant that never continued. So we turned right around and went back.
And I know exactly where you were and probably exactly where. Oh my God. That's so funny.
It's a great story. So let's dive into how you got into the home inspection world.
Sure. So roughly about 8 years ago, we bought the franchise. Just looking for a change. My wife and I kind of surprised her with it. It was kind of
Hey, Denise, surprise.
It was kind of a little like that. Always been interested in real estate, in general.
Yeah.
Thought about possibly becoming a realtor, but you guys work too hard, so I definitely did not want to do that.
Okay.
Okay.
No.
Fair enough.
So I just happened to be scrolling around looking at franchises, and home inspection happened to come to eye. And with my background of what I used to do and owning a lot of my own homes and doing all my own work over the years, it just seemed like a perfect fit for me.
And when you say what you used to do, we know a little bit about your background, but tell us a little more about the things you used to do that prepared you for that.
Yeah, the majority of my life, I worked in the paint and coatings industry, working for companies like Sherwin-Williams and Benjamin Moore and companies like that, in technical sales most of my life.
Awesome.
So yeah, it was always around the construction and coatings industry. So it was something that always interested me anyway.
Okay. And how long has Team Gertsen been in existence?
8 years and a month, basically.
Wow.
Just about.
Wow. Well, congratulations.
Okay. Yeah. Congratulations. Exactly right.
27 end of 2017.
Dang. Okay. So then that leads us to, you've seen the gambit of the real estate world.
I have seen a lot of change. If you had said to me when I was looking at franchise models 7 or 8, 9 years ago, would I have chosen this? Not sure. But things have changed, but I love it. I mean, it's just that, yes, it has changed drastically with people waiving, unfortunately, inspections to get the transaction. But it is what it is. We have to change with the times.
Yeah. You segued me perfectly into my next topic that I want to kind of deep dive or trickle into. So with people who have had to waive inspections, what are some of the things that a home buyer could look for, or even an agent who's walking through a property? What are some of those things that they should be looking for or keeping an eye out on that says, okay, maybe this is something that we do need to bring that home inspector in for and not waive? Absolutely.
I mean, generally, when most people are going through showings, they're always seeing the pretty stuff. They're seeing the kitchens, the bathrooms, all the fluffy
Shiny
stuff,
objects.
the shiny objects.
We were just talking about that.
Exactly. So you got to look past those items.
Sure.
So as a realtor, you can look past how pretty it is and go, honestly, try to look at the panel box, look at the wiring, look at the plugs on the wall. Are there 2 prongs? Are there 3 prongs? Do you see knobs and tubes in the basement that would be, indicative of knob and tube wiring? Is the roof really bad? Is there signs of cracks in foundation walls? Those are the things that really, when we start talking about things that are, let's call them deal killers in your world,
Sure.
They're really the most expensive things are electricity items and water, intrusion into basement spaces. And generally roofing are the three biggest, most expensive items that we come across on a home inspection. Yeah, you could have your HVAC and your windows, and those are all expensive too. So yes, windows as you're walking around the house, glancing at age, condition, overall appearance, style.
Yep.
I mean, those are the kind of things that are, they're not the sexy things in the house, but they're the things that are going to cost you the most money.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's actually one of the ways that I talk about those things when we're walking through a house with some of our sellers. And, they say, we did the new roof and we put a new HVAC system in and we put an underground, drainage, French drain system, and we did all these things. And I mean, that's great because those are the big ticket items. At the same time, sometimes I have to talk with them about the fact that, to use your word, those are also the non-sexy items. People don't see that. They don't see the new roof. They don't know that you've got a French drain system. They don't know necessarily that your HVAC system was just replaced unless it had a date on it, et cetera, or if it's in a disclosure. But those are the things they don't necessarily look for. But they, to your point, they really are the things that really add up in terms of dollars.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Those are the things that buyers. I mean, again, it's important to have the house look nice.
Sure.
But it's also important to have a house that's structurally sound and that's not going to cost you. I mean, you're walking in spending a lot of money to get in it. If you walk in cash poor, you're going to have a hard time if all these items are going to be due. I use the analogy, if you're buying a house that's like 30 plus years old, so you'd say 30 to 50. It's like buying a car with 50,000 miles.
Right.
I try to explain to people, you're buying a car that's going to need shocks, brakes, and just expect it. So it's not a matter of if, but when. So you've got to be ready for that. So the sooner you know about those items, the better off you're going to be, and educated, and your due diligence is going to be perfect for that transaction.
Yeah. The wear items, so to speak.
The wear items, absolutely.
Right.
Yep. Because everything in your house is a wear item.
That's
Everybody
right.
needs to understand there's no perfect house, even new construction. Everything's a wear item.
Time out. Can you say that again?
There is no perfect house, even new construction.
So let's talk about new construction. A lot of the times people will go into a new construction house and they'll say, do we really need the home inspection? Everything's going to be brand new. They're going to be, building from the ground up. What's your response to that?
My response is, do you test drive your car before you buy it?
Yeah.
I would generally say
Yeah.
yes. And
Yeah.
do you have a warranty on your car when you buy it? Yes. And in new construction, you've got a 12-month warranty. So I'll give you a little bit, but literally 12 months and 1 day,
And
and you have a house with no warranty.
yeah,
So having a home inspector come out and take a look at it is basically going to give you a independent set of eyes doing everything, literally opening and closing every window, checking every receptacle, running all your appliances, just doing a once-over. The more set of eyes you have going through that house before you own it, the better off you're going to be.
Well, particularly with new construction, the builders welcome those. Yeah, and we've seen, and Mish just mentioned, for the last few years or so, we've had a lot of our buyers that have waived inspections. Understandably, I don't agree with it at all. We don't suggest it at all. But at the same time, we do recognize that obviously, sure, it makes them more competitive in the resale market. But as far as new construction goes, if the same kind of competition doesn't exist, buyers can buy those homes, they can add the inspections, and the builders welcome them almost. Gives them a punch list, and it makes sure that they don't get sued if there's anything that's wrong. They have a professional, coming in, a neutral party who's literally just looking at these things, checking it all out, and we'll give them a blueprint if there's any, so to speak, if there's anything that's wrong, they can fix those things. So yeah, in the new construction market, we don't see that's a problem at all.
No, actually, most builders actually kind of welcome it because I do become the punch list guy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yep.
I think that's just one of those limiting beliefs that a lot of buyers have when they go out there and search, is that home inspections are only for that resale market, but they're really for everybody. And especially Matt talked about it with the sellers. If a seller is, hey, I think there's something up. We don't, here, what would you say if we brought an inspector in? Some agents might be like, I don't know, it can open a can of worms, but sometimes it could be the deciding factor. If we've got a pre-listing inspection that's already done, and we can input that on the MLS and say, hey, we priced accordingly knowing X, Y, and Z because Erik was in there and showed, the roof is a little bit older. The HVAC's going to need to be done. None of those like major issues, but just a little kind of key guide to some of those things. I mean, I'm sure you're doing those as well.
I've done a lot of those. And actually, I try to explain to people, like everybody, like you said, people used to be afraid, agents, that, oh my God, it's a disclosure item. I'm like, yeah, it's a disclosure item, and you're disclosing it.
Yeah.
So therefore, the buyer now has to bid accordingly because you've told them all that. Actually, it's a very, I'm giving you a super detailed disclosure document.
Yep.
Right.
So
yeah,
I totally agree. I mean, we're doing more of those. I think it helps you guys definitely get way more for the purchase price on the house.
Absolutely.
100%, especially those buyers who they know what they're looking for and they're in that competitive sense. I mean, we learned at our sales meeting today that if you're at that like $300,000 to $500,000 purchase price, you're in a super competitive market where we are.
Yep.
Now, say you've got one home that doesn't have that pre-inspection done and you've got one that does. I think that as a buyer, you might tend to lean towards that one that's got that home inspection report so that you can say, I know what I'm walking into.
Sure. It also can obviously help buyers therefore waive the inspection because they already have an inspection in front of them. To that point, we have run into that before on the buy side. And we always tell buyers, like, you can still get your own home inspection, but read through this one and see if you have any questions, anything that's remaining.
Yeah. I totally agree. Well, think about it. How things have changed. Would you buy a car now without a Carfax document?
No.
So, it's almost become like the pre-inspection of a car.
Yeah.
You know everything about it. So now pre-inspections are leading into what will one day become a home fax type environment.
Yeah, and it's funny because there's different levels of car inspections, like there's different levels of home inspections. Like I've bought cars before in the past where the dealer pulls out the auto check, and I'm like, that's great, but I'd like to see the Carfax, and invariably the Carfax shows more than auto check.
Yeah.
So and this isn't anything about auto check and Carfax,
totally.
But at the same time, there are different levels of detail that you're going to get in different home inspections. And, Mish and I have had the opportunity, and you probably have too, Erik, to look at other, inspection reports. And sometimes we don't see the same level of detail that we'd like to see in the ones that our buyers get. So it's one of the reasons we work with Erik, for sure.
100%. I appreciate that.
And I've been lucky enough to go on an inspection with Erik, and that was a great experience for me because I'm behind the scenes 90% of the time. So I'm seeing the report, but I'm not on site to actually hear what Erik is saying to our buyers. So it was nice for me to walk around with those guys and kind of hear what he was saying and point out things as he was going through so that when I brought it back to Matt, I could say, oh, wait, Erik talked about that. Oh, wait, Erik said something about this. So it was nice to be able to have that personal experience on that. And then hearing, the praise that we got from those guys. Like,
oh, yeah.
He is a self-proclaimed Sheldon from Big Bang Theory. So that is his claim. And he's very detail oriented. And to see him just melt and know that everything was okay. And some of the things that he saw in the photos, Erik was like, that's like $100. And the guy was like, really? And Eric's like, yeah, that's like nothing. And
that perspective is huge.
It's massive. Because to me, I'm not a homeowner. So when I go into homes, I look at things and I go, oh my gosh, that's how much? And then Erik will go, that's like half that. I'm like, oh. So it gives me a great perspective because as I'm looking at stuff on the MLS, I've even sent him pictures of like an exterior. And I'm like, does this really need stucco? Does that is that just brick? Like, what are some things that we can look at that way? And you and I had a great discussion about that because we were putting stucco, like, if necessary, if needed. And he's like, why are you putting that in there? You can see right here that it doesn't have it. I'm like, well,
just
how would
Matt
I know
to hit his head against the wall and see if it vibrates.
I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I'm not out there. But he gave some great tips on how to kind of look. That way we weren't putting in an additional thing in the agreement of sale that wasn't necessarily needed.
True. I agree. And as you guys know, even with your clients, like the other thing that we do, not that we do differently than anybody else, but we stay in constant contact with your buyers for months, if not years to come.
Yep.
Right. You don't forget who they are. You don't, and when they call, you'll answer their questions.
Yeah, and they'll send us stuff like, "Hey, should I be worried? Who do I call?" And I take great pride in trying to talk them off a ledge or send them to the right person. Listen, I don't say that I'm the most knowledgeable in every single thing in a house, but I do know a lot about a lot. So, and if I don't know the answer, I definitely know somebody that will know the answer, and I direct them that way.
Sure.
100%. You were great in finding our water guy. Like we now use the person we refer for
Steven.
Our Steven,
Yeah,
from a refer. I called Erik one day and I was like, I need this guy. Who do you know? And he went, you got to call these guys. And I was like, okay. And I literally called, said Erik's name, and he goes, oh, I love him. When do you need me out there? And it was just that instant, just by having that connection. So we appreciate that.
No, I love doing it.
Yeah. What do you think makes your approach unique? I mean, obviously there's a lot of different types of inspections, inspectors, et cetera. What do you see as like a unique way that you run your business, or the way you inspect?
I guess me individually, I take, again, going back to pride, I take great pride in making sure that the client, the buyer or seller, whoever it is in complete understanding of everything I'm doing and talking about during that inspection, during and after. Mm-hmm. And what I do different than a lot of inspectors, and sometimes it sounds simple, and you guys know this, we always try to set all radon detectors, get water samples, do all that stuff preliminarily before the inspection. So we have all reports done the day of, and literally 10 minutes after I'm done with my inspection, all reports are done.
Yep.
Hear that, agents and buyers? Because obviously those time frames are extremely important. Yeah. This is a great way to make sure that you're staying within that timeline.
Yeah, when people call me and say, hey, we have a 7-day window, we have a 5-day window, can you get us in? If I say yes, it's because I can get everything done in the window.
Yep.
And the report, I get agents all the time like, so I get that in 24, 48 hours? I'm like, 24. I'm like, I don't want to be giving you a report in 48 hours. I don't like homework. I'm giving you the report as soon as we're done. And we're working on iPads. It's all technology. I take great pride in writing all my own comments, all my own content on all my inspections. And like you said, I've seen a lot of other inspectors' reports, and I'm not knocking their knowledge.
Yeah.
It's just the way you give it to, regurgitate it back to the buyer or the seller, that they've got to be able to understand it. Mm-hmm. And it's not just saying, hey, defect. I want to explain why it's a defect and what to do in the case of the defect, and is it a major defect or a minor defect?
Yeah.
And the other thing is that you can add, description to that as well. Like if someone, you were just mentioning before off camera when we were talking, like when you're speaking with the buyers and the agent on site during the inspection, yes, this is a defect. Here's the reality. Like you've said that to me a number of different times, like, it's a defect, and at the same point, and you add like more color to that, as well. Whereas if someone's just reading the report, any report, it's like you're just reading the black and white words. It has a different meaning, which is, kind of leads us into, obviously why it's important for buyers and ideally their agents as well to be on site during the inspections.
It gives complete context. That's what you're missing.
Context, that's the,
exactly right. Yeah, because you're right. Just to not just, it's like a photo, whatever is better than so many words, and a video is even better than that, but being there is everything. Yeah, I really prefer, a lot of people are like, oh, you mind if I follow you around? I'm like, I don't mind. I actually want you to follow me around.
Sure.
Yep.
Because I don't want to have to go over all this stuff with you
buddy,
later on.
Can you come downstairs? That takes twice as much time as if they're right behind you and you can say, oh, hey, can you come check this out with me real quick?
Exactly.
I think it's important for our buyers to realize, and we say this like when we're on site, it's like, you hired Erik. He's your professional that's here today for you. Don't feel bashful about following him around. Don't feel bashful about asking questions. This is your opportunity to learn. He's going to write you a manual for your house that you may end up buying, hopefully. And if not, that's okay too, because there's problems that Erik identifies that are just like non-starters.
Then that would be money well spent.
Absolutely.
100%.
Sure.
100%.
Right.
And I think that's another common misconception is people are like, oh, we've got to spend all this money on this home inspection. And then what if we don't even end up putting an offer in on that house because of what we find? In my mind, I'm like, a couple $100s to get a peace of mind versus not spending that money and walking into a house and a year later you've got
$50,000.
You've spent XYZ that you could have known ahead of time. To me, it's a non-starter and a no-brainer.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally
Absolutely.
agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely. When we're working with buyers and we walk through houses, we see things. Obviously, we're not inspectors by any means, but sometimes we see things. We'll see, potential electrical issues. We'll see cracks in basement walls. We'll see, the air conditioning won't be running on a hot day. That's an easy one. Stains in the ceiling. What recommendations would you make to not only just, buyers, but also their agents as they're walking through houses, like the things that they see, any quick checks, any red flags that they may see that you would recommend really paying attention to and, like thinking about?
I mean, the biggest thing, the number one thing with all homes, in my opinion, is water infiltration.
Yeah.
So the first thing you should do is walk around the perimeter of the house.
Yep.
It's the number one thing. The grading around that house is number one. Number two would be gutter discharge or gutters moving away. Are your neighbors' homes higher than your home and you're the low guy? I mean, and then, so once you go into the basement, now that that's why I like to walk the perimeter. If you're a buyer, look at it first and see what you got outside.
Now, Erik usually gets there before we do, so I don't usually see that part.
No. Well, and actually, some people start with the outside first and do the inside. I actually don't. I start with the inside, but I do walk the perimeter to get an idea.
Yeah.
Or if I see something inside, I'm obviously going to go verify it outside.
Yep.
But when you're inside, now you have a point of reference that you can say, okay, wait a minute. I saw a gutter, with a missing, extension discharging against the side. Now when you go in the basement, you see all this efflorescence or water staining on the walls or, wetness on the floor. Well, you already know why.
Yeah.
And what might seem like, oh my God, I have a major problem in the basement is literally a $10 extension and they've just deferred to not doing it.
Right.
And now that buyer's got an advantage because he's like, wait a minute, this is easy. So, I mean, that would be something like you guys would see and be like, okay, this is no problem. We can fix this. Other people are going to shy away from this property for something super simple. And so water infiltration, now you're going to find ones that you look at and go, I can't figure out from what Erik was saying. I can't see any grading issues. I don't see any gutter issues. The sump pump keeps turning on. I don't know why. Then you run screaming. I mean, that's, because if you've got sump pumps that are just running for no reason, then you might have hydrostatic water coming through the ground. And,
right.
Those are the kind of, I had a property not that long ago that I got lucky. I was walking out the front and there was water discharging out of the sump pump pipe. And I was like, that's weird. So I went back inside and it was just filling up and discharging, filling up and discharging. And I looked everywhere. I could find no signs of any issues in the basement.
Yeah.
So I had just a high water table?
Yes. Yeah, so I just had to say to him, like, listen, I'm just telling you, I can't figure it out. And I can figure out pretty much everything. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I would not probably buy this house because of that. Just because it's just too, you lose power. This thing's just filling up the basement.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just, there's certain things, and there's not too many deal killers in my world. Horizontal cracking in the foundation, hydrostatic water coming up through the basement floor. Things like that are really the only two major things. Mm-hmm. Everything else can be fixed, for a price, as long as it's all relative and worth the money.
Horizontal versus vertical cracks.
Yes.
Discuss that real quick with us, because you've mentioned that to me before. When we're out, I've seen vertical cracks, and then somewhere in the memory banks, Erik said that's not really a problem necessarily. Horizontal cracks, Erik said that's a problem. Can you tell us why? Because I just want to make sure everyone hears that. I think that's important.
Yeah, no, cracking. So, we all see cracking. There's step cracking, stair cracking, which is settlement cracking. And it's generally not a concern unless it's wide and or in a location that I don't like, a corner of a basement. So step cracking, if I'm in the corner of the basement and there's a stair crack on one side of the foundation wall and on the other side.
Stair crack meaning like stepped?
Steps going down.
Yeah.
If both sides have that step cracking, that means that corner is kind of shifted down and is moving away from the house.
That's not good.
So that's structural.
Yeah.
So that could be an issue or definitely an expensive repair. Horizontal crack. Now, if it's in the middle of a wall or it's somewhere and it's a small crack, most likely it was a settlement crack from early on in its existence. And it still should be dealt with and maybe addressed so that water doesn't come through it or something happens.
Sure.
But it's most likely not a major issue. Okay. Horizontal cracking, on the other hand, is a different creature. Horizontal cracking is block wall generally. You get a line going horizontally across the whole foundation wall. Mm-hmm. And obviously sometimes it could be big and it could be actually bowing in towards the house. Now that's caused by hydrostatic pressure and water on the outside of the property that is basically, there's probably bad grading, gutter discharges or whatever's going on outside that's wetting that soil. And in the winter, it heaves and it basically presses in on the inside foundation. So it's a matter of time probably before your wall will literally kick out on the inside of your house and blow out.
Ugh,
So
that's not good.
it could be a much more expensive repair, and it's cause and effect. So that's the effect.
Yeah.
But now you got to figure out what the cause is. And one, can you fix it outside? Because a lot of people talk about, the effect, and they're going to fix the effect. They're going to put the Band-Aid on whatever the repair is. As a home inspector, I try to talk about cause and how to fix the cause.
Find that root
It's all
issue.
about, because if you can't fix the cause, then honestly, it's another one of those, don't buy the house.
Yeah.
Because if you can't fix it, then it's going to be an ongoing thing for the rest of your life. And when you go to sell it, it's going to be a nightmare.
Yeah. Dang.
Sorry.
No, I mean,
No, but those, so horizontal,
As Eric goes, I just bummed everybody out.
and then vertical cracks by comparison.
vertical cracks, depending on where they're at, generally if they're straight down, and no, it depends. If it's splitting block, again, it's a pretty strong effect to do that. I have to look at the ground to see if it's, again, shifting downward.
Sure.
But again, that's why you have the home inspection. There's things that I see, and sometimes I don't always know the reason.
Yeah.
And in that situation, we will recommend you go out and have a structural engineer or a masonry contractor come out and just verify it.
Awesome.
But
Okay.
yeah, horizontal cracking is one of those ones as a realtor. If you see a crack and it goes across the whole perimeter, it would probably be one you don't put the agreement of sale in on quite so quickly.
We've had a couple of those
Yeah.
over the years for sure. And sometimes, of course, there's, storage shelves and things in front of it where you don't necessarily see the whole thing. As an agent, I definitely try not to move anything because it's really, it's more like, well, it's there, it's here, and it's there. It's probably here. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And I know as an inspector, obviously, there's a modicum of like, I don't really like to move anything unless I absolutely have to, or how does that work?
Well, no. So from an inspection standpoint, if it's something that could be moved safely and without risk of death, let's say there's Rubbermaid containers that are easily movable, we're going to move them.
Yeah.
Ladders, maybe some things that are, again, easily movable. If there's built-in shelving, personal belongings that look like they're fragile, obviously we are not going to touch them.
Sure.
Now, that being said, we're going to put in a limitation in the report to tell you guys and the buyer, or, that there's a limitation, have it removed before the end of your objection window and have it re-inspected. And you guys know, as a lot of my clients, that I have no problem, one, either maybe coming back out again, or a lot of times I just tell people, just FaceTime me. Tell me when you're going to go back out, FaceTime me, we'll go over that area, and we'll discuss what we couldn't see during the inspection.
I think that's another great asset of you guys is that you're available for those rechecks. You're available for those questions as we're going through. Like we've been through a couple houses, especially like me, I filled in for Matt and I went to a couple places. And I know I texted Eric and I was like, I'm so sorry to bug you, but they're asking this question and Matt's unavailable and I don't know how to answer it. And immediately Eric was like, you're not bugging me. This is XYZ, no big deal. And I'm like, great. And I literally turned my phone around and showed the buyer and was like, this is exactly what the inspector said to me. And they were like, hold up, you have direct connection? I was like, yeah, it's pretty cool. Like I don't have to call a 800 number. I can just text his cell phone. And I use it on the rare occasion that like, I don't do it often, but it's those ones where I'm like, I have no idea what that is. So can you just explain to me real quick what that is? And no problem.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, but as agents, we walk through houses all the time. We have no idea what certain things are, and it's always important to know that we have a resource that we can use.
And that's what we should be. We're a partner. We're a tool.
Yep.
We're not just, again, we're not the
You're a tool.
bad guy. I'm a tool. I've been called a tool quite a few times. So
We like to use extension of the team.
There you go.
I think that's a better way of saying it.
Strategic partner.
there you
Strategic
go.
partner.
Strategic
Perfect.
partner.
Part of the team.
Yes.
All right, we're gonna get to my favorite part. Are you ready? I like flipping the page because then they can't see what it is. It's our rapid fire round.
Okay.
Ready?
Sure.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Early
Oh,
bird.
let me back up. I've recently gotten more into tea, so that's coffee every morning, guaranteed. Tea during the day.
Okay. Do you have a specific brand of tea that you like?
Green. I just like a green tea.
Like a good green tea?
Yeah.
Me too.
Try to keep healthy.
Love it. Early bird or night owl?
No, I'm an early bird.
Yep. Favorite local restaurant?
Okay, it's a tough one. I mean, if it's just a go-to, I'm going to have to say Limoncello in Chester Springs.
Okay.
Ooh, limoncello.
I'm assuming Italian with that name.
It's Italian.
Yeah. All right. Dream vacation?
Dream vacation.
Pay attention, Denise.
I know.
I'm trying to think because I have to kind of tie it into what her dream vacation might be. No.
You can have separate dream vacations.
have
You may take them together, but
Yeah, you might have some.
Wow, that's a tough one.
Mine's different.
Mine's probably going to be like Ireland, Scotland.
Yeah.
Basically.
Love it.
there you go.
iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
Thank goodness. No green texts with Erik.
Nope.
Podcast or playlist?
Playlist.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
I know. He's got some cute puppies. Go-to hype song?
Wow, that's a good one.
We just talked about one the other day.
Which one was
Do you
this?
remember?
Was it the Alan Parsons
Yes.
project? Was this not a Eye in the Sky? What's it?
Sirius.
Sirius. The beginning of it. Okay, that's a good one.
The Chicago
Yeah.
Bulls entrance song from the 90s.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's a good one. If not, anytime I can put on Five Finger Death Punch
Oh, yeah.
will get me moving along.
Really need to introduce you to my husband. He's got similar music tastes. Hidden talent?
Hidden
Yeah.
I know one.
Or just a talent that we might not know?
drumming's my one talent.
Yeah.
Well, not my only talent, but it's the one that I take the most pride in, I guess.
I'm noticing there's a lot of musician ties that we've got going on. And I like it because I am a music lover. I used to play the clarinet.
There you go.
One word to describe yourself.
Shy, overall.
Shy.
I'm a shy guy.
Yeah, you are a shy guy.
I mean, my wife will be sitting here watching this, and she'll probably agree. I mean, you get me talking, and maybe a few drinks, and things change.
Yep, yeah.
But if we get on the topic of something I know, it's a different
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah.
So, I mean, introverted, not shy. I guess just, I just kind of stay focused on task.
So
you're not going to see me at a bar like talking to everybody in the room. It's not my thing.
Not your thing.
So we have 3 extroverted introverts sitting at this
There you
table.
go. That's
Yeah.
us.
Love it. All right. So, one piece of advice for your clients. If you could say one thing to them.
I would just tell them to relax and just expect to learn something from the experience.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really all you can do. I mean, by the time you get to me, you've already hopefully thought this process out.
True.
And that this is now in the due diligence thinking period. And then again, I am there to educate them. So relax. I try to tell them, like, don't be afraid. This is not going to be, I try to make this a non-scary process.
I can tell you it is a non-scary process.
Very informative at the
Yes.
same time.
When you've got Erik and Denise on your side, like you're going to be just fine. Yeah.
I do appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for allowing us to open the door with Erik Gertsen today.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Of course. We're going to put his contact information below. So in case you ever need any home inspection needs, these are your guys.
And thank you again for watching the latest episode of The Keychain. Have a great day, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.